out of use context, feature context. And then we'll say show feature. So if that return show feature, if it's true, that's when we show the feature. So then we pass feature, we do source, images, category, then item feature dot genre. And then go ahead and do item feature dot slug and then large dot jpeg. Okay, so you see here images. If you go into images, category images, then you'll get the category, which will be either films or series. And then you'll go into the genre, which could be children, and then you'll go into the slug, which could be Despicable Me, and then you'll get the large image, which will be this. Perfect. I love that film. Right, so then we need some content. So we'll just say content, feature title, and then we'll pass item feature dot title. Then the next one will be feature text, feature close, on click, set show feature false. So that basically just hides the feature if someone wants to close it. And then we can have a close image in there. So we can just say image, icons, close.png. I'll just copy this a second. And we'll say alt close. We can look at that and we have a close button. Cool. Ignore the errors. We don't really care about those just at the moment. What you want next is where's this? I'll just put null here, so basically don't show anything if we don't have a show feature. What you want next with inside the feature is we want to check for the maturity. So we're going to have a group, and let's pass some custom props here. So for the styles, we can say margin is 30 pixels and then 0, and then we can pick this up on the group within the style component. Flex direction, and we'll pass that as row, align items center. So that's another little cool trick that you can use within style components. You can pass props. I know we can pass props, but we can pass specific CSS props that we can then utilize within the style component, not markup, but the code itself. So if we then do maturity, and we'll pass the rating, and we can do a conditional using style components. So what we want to do now, if item feature dot maturity is less than 12, then display PG. Or just do item feature dot maturity, which would just show if it's like a 15 plus, well, a 12 plus onwards, and there's only I think there's PG or 12 and 15 and 18 on some of the data that I've put inside Firebase. So we have the maturity, and now we just want some text. So we'll say feature text font, feature text font where equals bold. At this point, I just want to show you how you can pass props such as attributes for your CSS using props. So it's quite nice. There's all sorts of ways you can use style components, and I think I've covered the majority of them. Then here, what we want to do, we just want to make sure that the genre is uppercase. To uppercase plus item feature dot genre, then we'll take off that first item. Slice character 1. Cool. Right. I wonder if we have we don't have a working feature just yet, but rest props isn't being used here. Why? Oh, we'll spread it on here, the feature. There we go. So yeah, you can spread the rest props onto the card.feature. I don't know, comes in handy, I guess. So I think we're good. Let's see what happens if we uncomment this out. Oh, we don't have the player just yet. We need to get the player working. Let's just remove this and put hello. Oh, you see there? You see how it's changing? It's very subtle. But if I click on Tiger King, it's going to do it at the bottom of the group. You see there? Citizen 4 it changes to. So if I click on Supersize Me, it passes the item and changes the content. Now I can see that I have messed up and... Damn Magic Mouse. I've passed the item description. What do we need here? So we're getting the genre, that's fine. We got the maturity. I think that's, did we get the title? Oh, here. Make sure that's description. And we should get more text coming through now. So there's nothing there at the moment, right? I click on Tiger King. There we go. It brings these through with the maturity rating and the close button. I hit the close button, it works. Cool. So let's go ahead now and start styling this. So this is going to be a big one, but let's just crack on. The display will be display flex direction column, and each one I'll do a refresh so I can see what's happening. Box sizing, border box. And do we utilize anything else? Okay, so we need the title above, so then I can target that title using style components. So I'll say for the first title, just make sure that the media query is margin left 30 pixels, and then last of type, margin bottom 0. Let's see where we're at. Okay, somewhat. Let's take a look at the group. So the group's going to be, because on the group we passed in a bunch of props, right? Like margin, flex direction. So let's look at how we can use those. So let's do display flex direction, destructure out the props. So then we can say if there's a flex direction and that flex direction is equal to row, then add row, else make it a column. So that looks pretty good. And basically, what we can do next is we can basically just check. I mean, we always want some sort of flex direction in there. We don't always want align items. So let's just mess around with this a bit, and we don't even have to say, look, the flex direction. We don't even have to do that. What we can do, we can just go ahead and say, okay, if we have align items, we'll do the align items and align items, align items. So if it comes through, cool, we'll utilize it. And then we can do the same for margin. Let's put margin here. It's a bit messy. I probably wouldn't recommend doing it this way, but I just thought I'd show you that you can actually do this. You can just pass in the key and then set the value if you wish. And then we'll say for the first container, the first of type, media, min width, 11 pixels, margin top, minus 150. So let's have a look how the group looks. No change, I guess. I wonder why we've had no change. Let's see if the title. Let's see if we can get the title to change. Font size 24, color E5, E5, E5. That's pretty much the default from now. Font weight bold, margin left 56, margin right 56, margin top 0. Okay, so we got that through, which is good. And we have somewhat of a working application. We need to get these next to each other now. So let's aim to do that. So I've done the container. Let me just pull this across. So let's have a look. So how's this work in the, oh, it's the entities. The entities is the one where we're gonna have to do the direction. So let's just do that so we can get a nice looking application at least. We've done the group. The entities basically is a very simple one. Said display flex, flex direction, rah. Cool. Let's have a look. And there we are. It's getting there, right? It's getting there. Okay, so let's move on to, let's just fill these out quickly. Meta, we don't want to display that immediately. Position absolute, bottom 0, padding 10 pixels, background color 00000, F, I think that is. I think so. Is that 8? That's 7. I think the last one's an 8. I'm going blind. That's what happens when you don't wear contacts or glasses. Right, the image. We want the image to be a border of 0, a width of 100, max width of 350, cursor pointer, because we're going to be clicking on those, right? Or at least telling the user, hey, look, you can click on these. Padding 0, margin 0. The item, we need to work with that, but let's go ahead and fill a few more of these out. Feature title, I just want to get everything from the title and just have margin left, 0. So the feature close, we are going to style the button so that it's a color of white. We have a position absolute, right 20, left, not left, let's do top 20. Cursor pointer, background color transparent, because it's a button. Filter brightness 0, invert 1. Width 24 pixels. Let's see where we currently stand. Ooh, there we go. Perfect. That's looking good. Okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? We can do the maturity. That'll be a good one. I said background color rating. If the rating is greater than or equal to 15, show a background color of red or green. And that allows us to just do a conditional based on the color that we're going to see. If it's 15 or greater, then we'll show red to say, look, this is for adults or at least teenagers. Or if not, we'll just show green for children. Text and line center, color white, font weight bold. Text shadow 2 pixels, 4 pixels, RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.2. Margin right 10, and then font size 12 pixels. So let's take a look at how that looks. Do we have a maturity rating? If we click on the box, supersize me, there we are. It looks pretty terrible. That is more than likely because do we have a maturity rating in here? Maturity rating. Let's see. Let's leave that for now. We'll come back to that. We'll see if we can fix that. So next we want to style the content. We'll say margin 56, max width 500, line height normal, media, max width 1000. So anything up to 1000, just have a margin of 30, then max width of none. Okay, that's looking good. Right, so we have the item to do, the maturity is kind of done, but we've got a bit of a wobble with the text. Let's just put margin feature text to 0. You know what, let's get the, should we get the feature done? Yeah, it's time. Let's do the feature. Display flex. Let's pull that up. Flex direction row. Background URL. Source. Let's put the source on there. So we can have those large images set here as the background. Background size cover. Actually, no, let's do contain. It's nicer. Position relative, because we have the absolute button. Height 360. Background position X, which is right. Background repeat. No repeat. Background color black. Let's add a nice media query in here. Max width 1000 pixels, height auto, background size auto, title, font size 20 pixels, line height 20, margin bottom 10. Now we can also target the feature text at anything up to 1000. We can target it by just passing in like the constant here, really. So feature text is complaining at me. We need to put that above. There we go. And next what we want to do is the text. So we'll say margin top 5 pixels, font size 10, color FFF, margin bottom 0, user select. We don't want the user to be able to select the text, display none, line height normal. And I will sort that out shortly. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the CS being able to see the CSS, or like for the next tutorial, would you just prefer me to input the CSS and we just build out the React components? Let me know what you prefer. I think I'd go with the latter, where we just basically have the CSS already prepared. But then again, this is a style components tutorial as well as a React tutorial, so you kind of do, well, you kind of have to see some CSS at least. Maybe just show the core of style components would have been better. I'm not too sure. But we're deep in this now, so we do need to fix this. It's really annoying. Is this getting styling on here? So there's no styling on the close image. Okay, so that feature close. No, we are targeting the image. Oh, that makes sense. It's weird that you don't get bugs. That should have shown me a bug. You see, now it's white. Okay. So what's next? Well, let's see. Done most of them. There's some weird bugs there that we're gonna definitely have to fix. So let's do the item and then we can fix a few of these bugs like the maturity. Flex direction column. I'm just going to pull this across, by the way, apologies. Pull that across so you can see this better. Margin right 5 pixels, position relative, cursor pointer. I'm going to have a nice transition, transform 0.2 seconds. When you hover, transform and give me a scale of 1.3. With a nice Z index, so you go on the top of everything else of 99. And media query, min width. So anything up to this inside the item, we're going to basically just display block. So what we can do, we can just target the hover of meta, text, and subtitle. Display block, Z index 100. And let's see. We need to target the first of type, which should be the first item within the group, or the entities at least, which is basically just a list of the items. Media, max width 1000, margin left 30 pixels. And then we can do last of type. Let's see, we should be getting to the testing soon as well. We are going to be using React testing library, so we're going to be doing mostly UI testing. So if anybody wants to do a pull request for adding Cypress, that would be cool. I feel like you get more use out of Cypress than you would React testing library in this case, mainly just because you can test all these scenarios a bit better. Wow, that looks a lot better. So you see how you hover, it does a scale, and we click on one and you get the transition, which is quite nice. So this looks wrong to me. It should be on the right side. It looks like I have messed up the background position. Yeah. Background position X right. It should have a semicolon, not a colon. Let's have a look what else we need to fix. You see, it works responsively as well, which is nice. All the way down. All the way down. Let's see. The documentaries. Now, what's that listed under? Maturity. And then you have feature text. Feature text. Which basically just has a margin left. But that should be... Oh, no, this is wrong. That shouldn't be that. It should be font size 18 pixels. This is probably why we had the error. Color white, and then we want to pass a font weight of... what do we want to pass a font weight of? I think we do a conditional, right? So let's do font weight is equal to bold, then bold, else normal. Margin 0, media max width 600 pixels, line height 22. Cool. Let's see. That looks better. So we have the full image on there now. There's some strange issue here with the what is the issue here? What's this sat inside of? Sat inside the container, but it's the meta. So we have the documentaries, and then inside the feature, is anything wrong in the CSS there? Flex direction row, no, that's correct. So then inside the content, should that be flex direction row? Let's see. No, that should be column, I think. Is that the feature? What's that called? Card feature. Do you see how useful it is to have the style components macro on? Because you can just see what component you're at, and you can just debug. So I need to pull this over. So we do have a flex direction of row in here. So for the feature itself, we have a flex direction of row. We set the URL, that's working, the URL of the background. We contain that, we use a position relative. Position right, that looks okay, no repeat. So what about the maturity? So the maturity, let's just read this one. We have a border radius 15, width, text align center. Have we missed anything? It seems to look fine, apart from the maturity. Like, it kind of looks like it's working. Now, let me just check the feature one more time. Feature comes in as... So have the feature here. Oh, that maturity. No, that's correct. The styles are correct. But the maturity is falling out. So I think the maturity should actually be inside the group. So we have the group, the maturity, we pass in as 12, feature text. We pass that in as bold. Now why wouldn't that sit inside? I'm thinking that should sit inside. Let's pull this up. It's messing the design up really bad. So you have the content, it should sit inside the content. So maybe it's wrong inside here. search for content. The content text in, so the content text, the title, which I'd expect, the text, the close. Ah, there it is. That content should be down here. And then also, we want to pass the children in here as well. The reason you want to pass the children in here is because we're going to put the player in there. So we need the player to come in there, and we can then use, at least pass the video. There we go. So we have hello in there. Now let's take a look at the maturity. The group. I would expect that 30 pixels to be in there. So you see the group here, I'm passing a margin. Let's search for group. Okay, so that margin must be wrong. So the margin, so we're saying if there's a margin, well, destructure out the margin. If there's a margin, go ahead and do margin. That looks correct. Why is that not working? So where do we call the group? So we call the group here, so I expect it to be there. But when we call the group, is group passing the props? It is. It is. Strange. Oh, hold up. No. It is passing the props, and it's passing the margin. So why is that not coming through? It should do. I mean, the flex direction is, I believe. Yep, flex direction is, but the align items isn't. So as a matter of fact, you cannot use this way. So we are going to have to set align items. I thought you could use that way. Maybe there's been an update, or I just totally got that wrong. Let's see. On the group, what? There is an align items there. I just passed that. What we could do, we could no, I'm sure this works. Let me just look here. So we pass in the flex direction. That's fine. We've got the container. The margin looks fine. So let me just check this one more time. Oh, what's this? No semicolon. I bet that's causing it. That's one of the issues with style components. You're not getting that instant validation. Amanda Knox. There we are. It does work. I knew it worked. Silly me. Okay, so we need to pass the play button in here now. So if you want to click play. By the way, can we just look at how good this looks? Look at this. You can switch between films and series. And it's so nice. It's looking good. I feel like that transition isn't smooth. It should be smooth. Let's look into that. But do you see how I can switch between series and films? It's somewhat smooth. Somewhat. It could be smoother, but I thought I did put a transition on there. I was sure I did. Transition. Yeah, transform. Let's put 1 second. Let's see what happens with that. Maybe these transitions just don't work. I always thought they did work. Maybe not. Who knows? Any CSS experts, let me know. Nope, not different. So maybe the transition has to go in the hover. Transition, transform. Oh, I know what I've done. I can see it. It has the colon in there. Let's see. There we are. That's much smoother. I think we had that on the play button too. So what's this called here? I think it was the header. So let's just go into the header because I think that was bugging me at the start of this at least. And there's the play button. So you can put the transition in here, and then you can transform background, I guess. Let's see if we get a transition. Let's say background color. Let's see if we can get that. We need to pull it across. Yay, there we are. That works. Perfect. Okay, right. It looks good. Well done on getting this far. We do need to work on getting the footer in there, actually. I've just realized it doesn't exist. Yeah, should we put the footer in here? I think we probably should, shouldn't we? I mean, it would make sense too. So let's pull in the footer container. Pull it in down here. It doesn't exist. So go up top and do input footer container from footer. And then we should have a footer. Who's watching? Sounds like the FBI. Contact us. There we go. Man, that's looking good. And you click on an image. By the way, you don't get any sort of... I feel like we need to show the title in here. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Yeah, we took it off. So it only shows at certain transitions. Not transitions, sorry. It only shows at certain widths. But if I just put on here a hover state, there should be a background. No? There's no background? I would have liked a background on the meta details. I was sure I added one. Did I add one? Maybe I just didn't spell the correct. Where's the meta? Oh. There we go. I had far too many zeros. It's 7. I put 8 zeros. So now we should, hopefully. There we go. Look at that. So you get the nice background on the meta details. And then you click, and then you get... Oh, that's good, isn't it? You get the feature. So nice. Cool. So we are in a good spot. Let's go ahead and look at the player now. Okay, so for the player, what we want to do, open up the components, right click, type player, new folder, new file called index.js, styles as a folder, inside styles, call that player.js. And then we're going to open up the player, which is, firstly we want to import React, and then we want to import use state, use context, create context. Right, so you can see we have context in here now, and we're also going to have to pull in React DOM from React DOM, because we're going to be using a portal. And then for this, we expect to have a container, a button, an overlay, an inner, and a close. And we're going to get that from our styles. So let's do export const player context, create context, then export default function, player, take the children, the rest props, and then want some state. We'll say show player, set show player. Let's have that to false by default. And then return player context dot provider with a value of show player, set show player, and where are we? And then here you want the container with the rest props, and then we want to pass in children. And we've done this many times before. Hopefully you can all see that, which is good. Next we want the video. So let's go ahead and do player.video equals function player video. We're taking a source for the video, which we passed in the bunny. We have to recreate that because I did delete it. And then we'll extract out the context. So we can, basically you need to use context with compound components to be able to pass data around. That's the only reason I'm using it here. Show player, set show player. And we'll just have a close button in here. Player context. Now we're going to say return show player. So if it's true, do react dom dot create portal. And then we'll pull in an overlay. And we'll say on click for the overlay, go ahead, set show player false. And let's see, we can add inner, we can add just a standard video, an ID of Netflix player. And we'll add the controls in there. And within the player we have source equals source. This is just standard HTML right now. And yeah, so we have a player. That's it. Now you do need a button. What's this whinging at? Unexpected token. Oh, we have a conditional here, so make sure you close this to null. And video doesn't like this. Match elements order must have a track. I'll turn you off. Okay, so player.button equals function player button. All you need is the rest props here. Const show player, set show player, use context, player context, and then return button on click. We can do set show player, pass in show player, and then just switch that value. And we'll set player, and that should be good. Cool. So I think we are in a good position now. We have a player, but we need to pull in this. Do we not have a close button here? I thought I just pulled that in. Where did I put the close? Oh, it's meant to go here. Let's add a close button that we can put on top of the right side of the pop-up. Okay, so jump into the player. Do input styled from styled components macro, export const container equals styled.div, export const overlay equals styled.div, export const inner equals style.div again, and we need a close button. The close button, I'm basically just going to pull in some CSS because we can use some CSS for this. Export const closed, which is going to be a button, and we just need a standard button to hit play. Style.button, background color. Let me get the hex value for this. Border color FF width 115, height 45, text transform uppercase, font weight bold, color white, font size 18 pixels, height 45, cursor as a pointer because it's a button, display flex, align items, center, justify that content to be center, padding left 0, and then on hover, transform the scale of the button to 0.015, background color FF0816. Okay, so then let's begin at the top as well. You don't even have to pass anything in for the container. And just for this example, you know what? I'm not going to pass anything in for that container. We have a container and we're just going to use it to pass props basically. And that's it. It's just going to be a div with props on. And we can leave it empty. The overlay, let's do display flex, flex direction column. justify content, center, position fixed, top 0, left 0, width 100, height 100, background RGB 0, 0, 0, 0.5, margin 0, then 20. Okay, next, position relative, width 100, max width 900, margin auto, and we'll have a responsive video player. And the way to do this, just put height 100, width 100%. That should give us a responsive video player inside there. Now I'm going to do the initial bit of the close button, then if you want the CSS styling for this, just jump onto the GitHub, because it is a pain to do this button. Opacity 0.3, background color transparent, border 0, cursor pointer, on hover, opacity 1. Right, what's next? Actually, you know what, I'll type it out so you don't have to go to GitHub. We'll set before, then we'll set after, position absolute, left 10 pixels, top 0, content basically empty, height 22, width 22, background color 3, 3, 3. As a northerner, saying 3, 3, 3 or 3, 3, 3 is quite tough. Before, transform, rotate 45 degrees, and then after, transform, rotate 45 degrees. That should give us a close button. Now, if you want to jump over to the player, yeah, it looks fine. Show player, don't worry about this little squiggly. There seems to be a little bug with ESLint. Close down the card. We don't need the card there. What we can do, come down all the way down here. That's very small. That's my usual text, by the way. Where is it? Here. So on the card feature, what we can do for the card feature, we can pull in the player, player.button, player.video. We can pass a source of videos, bunny.mp4. Go up top, and we should have a component called player. And then what you want to do, you want to go into components, index, down here, and just put in player. Cool. Let's see. Move this across. You could do with putting some more images in as well. That would work, or at least some more data. There you have the play button, you hover, you get the state, you have the close button over here. Click play, and we get an error. Container is not a DOM element. What? Where? That is the most useless debugging message I've seen. Target container is not a DOM element. Oh. My apologies. I did the create portal. What you have to do on the create portal, the last element, you have to tell it where you want it to go. So it's basically saying with a portal, where do you want to inject this data? I want to go into the body. So basically it'll be the last thing, and then it can go over all the body elements. How did I miss that? Probably because I'm 7 or 8 hours deep in a tutorial. Supersize me, I hit play, and I get the player. And we have done it. We have our player. Close button, that's nowhere to be seen. If I click off there, that seems to work. No close button. Let's have a look why. The close button is here. Now, the close button could do with a Z index of 1000. Huh? Oh, let's fix a few things here. So we're not even using the rest props here. So you want to use the rest props. We want to spread them on. Where do we want to spread these? Let's put them here. Just see that those props are still on there. E.g., does it close? Yeah, it does. Okay, that's fine. Why is that close button not appearing there? That's so strange. So the close button, let's see, position absolute right 15, yes. Is there anything obvious in there? It doesn't look like there is anything. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. Let's see. So I have the video, the video's there, the button's there. Position relative, the video. Let's just see from the top where we can put this. What? Background color red, maybe? Oh, hold up. The before is wrong. I can't spell position. Oh my god, as if that was the thing. The issue. Let's look at this. Hit play. Okay, so it's still not there. Before, after, background color. Z index 99. It's somewhat there. It's somewhat there, but maybe I don't understand why that's not working. This should work. Maybe the content we can just put an X. Let's see. So we have an X, but that doesn't work. What's going on? So it looks fine. Now I'm just thinking, is it even worth having this button in there if it's not working that correctly? Yep, I'm getting rid of it. I don't really care for the button, to be honest. It was working. Should I get rid of it? Yeah, I'm getting rid of it. It's going. Au revoir. There it goes. And we will never see that button again. Cool. Okay, so we have a fully working application. You can switch between films, series. You have nice transitions. You can log in, sign out. Let me sign out. There we are. Can I get to the browse page? Nope. It's locked me down. And we have a working accordion. Let's see if we can sign in. We can sign in, perfect. We get a nice loading screen. And there we go. We even have the video. Last thing to do, live search. So let's crack on with that now. Okay, so if we jump into the browse container, we can start working on the live search. So to do this, what we need to do is, you see it's not working whatsoever at the moment. We can go ahead, create a use effect, and then we want to import up top a library that we installed called Fuse. Now Fuse is going to do all the heavy lifting for us, and we can just import from fuse.js, head back down, and what we're going to do we have a search? Yeah, we have the search term, so let's use that as a dependency if that changes. And you see down here, set search term for the header, which is this. Right, so if the search term changes, we want to do a search. So let's move this across. Fuse, cons fuse equals new fuse. Pass in the slide rows where all the data exists, and you have to pass some keys to say search these particular keys for these keywords. So we'll pass in data.description because that's what sits within our data description key. Then we have data.title, and then we have data.genre. Feel free to pass in others. I feel like they're a good collection of values that are deemed worthy of being searchable, because essentially they contain all the primary keywords, the description, the title, and the genre. Next, we want to do const results equals fuse.search, search term, dot map, and we can just structure out the item, and we just pass the item back. So we create a set of results, new set of items, and we can search. And then we say if slide rows dot length is greater than 0, and the search term dot length is greater than 3. So we don't just do a search if there's, say, one character. 3 is kind of the sweet spot for deeming it necessary to perform a search. And then we can do results.length is greater than 0, e.g. have we found anything? If we have found something, set slide rows to be results, which is this here. So you could get 5 results, you get 1 result. We just have to make sure it's greater than 0. Else, set slide rows to slides category, which basically just resets it. So we can try that, and that's fairly simple. Just if you want to take a quick look at that, it's fairly simple in terms of a search, right? It's pretty neat. Let's hope it works. Let's see. So head up here to the search. I'm just going to give this a bit of an increase, and I'm going to do a search for, let's see one that's obvious, the office. The office. And there we are. It works. South Park. We can go ahead and search for making a murderer. Super size me. And you could either filter it down to be even more aggressive. So with Fuse, you can pass in more options. So you could get just one result back. So yeah, you could do that, I guess. Let's see if Pepper Pig. So this one, you can pass like a ratio. It's a ratio of 0 to 1, I believe. So if you pass maybe something fairly aggressive in there, maybe 0.1 or 0.9, I can't quite remember which side it falls on, you can make it more aggressive in that it'll only return Peppa Pig. But I quite like that you get some more results back. But probably what would be a good idea is to maybe highlight, if this exists, highlight this particular one. But anyways, that's live search. Fairly simple to do. Now, I'm trying to think if there's much more to cover. We've created an accordion, a card, a feature, a footer, form, header, jumbotron, loading, opt form, player, and profiles. So we've created a bunch of components. So huge congrats on that. We've created some constants, containers, context, which is what we're using for Firebase, our fixtures, helpers, some hooks, which is good. We've got some default hooks in there, and you can use these in your other projects as well. So feel free to just steal those if you want to use Firebase elsewhere and you want some custom hooks. I have a library. These were my details. They're getting deleted in a moment's time once I'm done with this tutorial. It's been a long tutorial over the course of a few days, this one actually, because it was fairly tiring. And I don't get a chance to record unless it's nearly midnight, so I maybe record a few hours a night. We have a player. We have an index for all our pages, a sign in with a reusable form. So it's a fairly big project. I would say it's more heavily reliant on React than it is, creating some custom logic, whether you're hitting maybe some middleware in Node, the mid-tier. Utilities, this is quite nice. It gives us, these nice titles on the left. What else do we have? The application with React router. See, I got it right then. I didn't say router. We have our global styles. we used normalize. It somewhat worked, I think. I can't quite remember. It was a bit flaky. What else? We have the logo in here, which is nice. We have the seed file. Remember to only call that the one time or you'll get duplicate data. If you do run into issues starting the application, remember to have the skip pre-flight check. And everything's going to be in the description, such as my install ESLint and Prettier config, the Netflix application on GitHub. Please give that a star. And also, I know we're coming somewhat to the end of this, but please, please, please subscribe for more videos like this. It makes it worthwhile doing these, having, you know, the feedback and also sharing between each other, figuring out how we can, you know, get better as developers. So huge well done, like huge well done getting through this. You've created an amazing application. And yeah, it's if you even managed to get this far, which I doubt anyone will, if you did, drop a comment, let me know that you actually got this far, because it's a huge tutorial, and I don't expect that people have this amount of hours. I don't even know what we're at, maybe 8, 7, 6. Yeah, so I don't expect people to even have this time, to be honest. And if you have managed to get through this, I'm sure you've learned a lot. Right, so I think we're done in terms of the development, so give yourself a huge pat on the back. Upload it to GitHub, maybe go deploy it to Netlify or one of these services where you can deploy client-side rendered apps for free, and show your friends. You know, put it on your Tinder profile. I'm sure you'll get many, many swipes. Yeah. So what you need to do next for the testing, now we are going to be using React Testing Library. And there's a few things we want to do. So we are going to be using Jest as well. So if you haven't used Jest or you don't care about testing, I don't blame you. Click off, hit the like button, subscribe, go get a coffee, upload this somewhere and go brag to your friends and on social media that you've built Netflix. And I know there'll be people like, oh, you didn't build Netflix, you don't have a backend. We have a Firebase backend. Yes, I understand the complexity of the player. The player is a lot bigger than this application itself, and this is just, you know, probably touching like the tip of the iceberg for how Netflix actually operates. Maybe 0.1%. Netflix has a huge technical architecture, and there's so much complexity in there that I just imagine there's some really intelligent people working there dealing with these problems, because Netflix has one of the best players. You click play and it's instant. Granted, there's no advertisements or anything like that, but it's a fantastic player and it's a great website and a good service. And of course, I pay for Netflix by using my friend's account. Occasionally, I'll buy them a coffee. Anyhow, so what you want to do here, Jest, we want to ignore. I'm going to be a bit lazy and pull in this configuration here, which is basically saying only collect coverage from the root directory, source, whatever comes after source, and then a wildcard for all the files that have a JS extension. And don't collect coverage from any of these, because I don't really care about them. They're basically either constants or, you know, whatever they may be. Coverage, I find like 80% plus is absolutely fine. You don't have to aim for 100. I feel like if you get to 100%, you're just trying too hard. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Next, what you wanted to do, collect the coverage in a HTML and text format. So let's see. So we have coverage reporters, which basically allow us to have those two options. And what you just want to do, go right up to the top, and where it says React scripts here, just put -- 2 dashes coverage -- watch all. And that'll basically allow us to get the coverage. And if we just run that immediately, I'm going to say goodbye to the application for now. Goodbye application, we'll be back shortly when we add data test IDs, but for now I want to demonstrate the coverage. So just do yarn test. And you get absolutely nothing because I have no idea why. So we have, let me do yarn run test. I know there was a bug with this at one point. Nope, you did run the test. let's see, why is that not running the coverage? Yarn run test watch. I could just do yarn test coverage watch all. No, it's the same, even though it's the same